and welcome to Wow Crochet Designs. My name is Mary, and in today's tutorial we are working on the joining of the Swatch Blanket of 2021. Yay! Get excited, we've been waiting a long time for this part and we've been working on the blanket all year round. And this is the join we're going to use. It is called a flat braid join. Now you could have popped a single crochet row around each of your swatches. It would be a little awkward to try and get it to marry up because each swatch has a different stitch count, and the reason is we had to do that to make it fit the 8 centimeters or the not 8 centimeters, try 20 centimeters or the 8 inches. All right, so there you go, but how gorgeous does it look? By the end of this tutorial, this is where you will be. You'll be right down here, right here at the very end, and I tell you to stop at this particular stitch marker. And then we will meet back tomorrow for part 2. Now, part 2 will be replacing all of your swatches, which is the rest of them, and that will be happening literally tomorrow. Yay, tomorrow. All right, now let's get on with what we need. You will need your yarn. Now, guess what? This part here, you wouldn't believe it, only took me about 10 grams worth. So the actual join itself, as you can see, we'll get a nice close up. Here we go, this one here. You can see it better. I thought you could. Oh, there you go. The join itself is used with single crochets and chains. I'm sorry, maybe that is too close. How's that? That's better. Oh, it's really blurry, isn't it? I'm trying to get a right angle for you. But it's quite easy and uses very minimal yarn. So there you go. 10 grams for the 2 rows. So what are you saying? Maybe 20, 30, 40 grams the most, just to complete, maybe even 30, really, just to complete all 5 sets, 5 rows, if you will. Okay, it will be consisting of 5 swatches down, yes, and 5 swatches across. So your blanket will measure exactly the same in squared, if that makes any sense, once we're done. All right, I'm not going to talk anymore, guys. I'm just going to let you get started creating the join as you go for your gorgeous swatch blanket. Good luck, guys. Alrighty, guys, here are all my swatches, all roaring and ready to go. Now I'm going to pop that down there. Let's move everything out the way. Now, once you have worked out a design, and I'll show you my design. Now, just bear with me with this because my printer, the ink ran right here. I mean, the actual picture was taken crooked to begin with, but the ink ran anyway. This is where I want exactly the way I want my swatches to go. Now, you don't need to follow this picture, but if you wanted to, let me bring that out for a minute. I've got 2 versions of it, the written version and the actual photo. If you wanted to follow this same layout, this is the way it looks. And I will actually tell you what stitch each one of these swatches are anyway, so you won't need this. As we go along, I'll be telling you exactly which ones they are. So don't stress. If you're following me, just follow along with me for each swatch that I tell you to get, all right? But if you have your own design, this is what I want you to do. I want you to lay it out like this, where you've got 5 across that way, 5 down that way, and we're going to start from our top left-hand corner, all right? And we're going to work down this way, but actually going to work like that. All right, and I'll talk about that further on in the tutorial. But for now, this is a written sketch of that. All right, there's your herringbone. There's your easy granny. There's your basket weave. There's your C2C swatch. And there's your popcorn. All right. And as we go along, I'll say, right, grab swatch number 7, the herringbone. Grab swatch number 8, the easy granny. I will tell you which ones to get anyway. So don't stress if you're worried about all this. Okay. This is just to help you out if you want to design your own layout. Okay, take your own picture. Lay all your swatches out and take your own picture. Otherwise, stick with this one here and we'll work on this together. Simple, simple. Now, before we start putting our swatches together, we need to do one thing. Let's grab the very first swatch, which is swatch number 7. It's the herringbone swatch. You need to decide which is the wrong side, which is the right side. It's not too much of a problem, but the first side where it's that bottom part there where it's all bubbled, the very bottom part, that to me is the wrong side. So flip it and you see it nice and neat along there. That to me is the right side. But again, it doesn't matter too much, all right? Not in this case because you're going backward and forward, all right? You need to grab, okay, you need to have 4 of the large stitch markers, and if you've got 8 colours, if you've got 8 of one colour, by all means use that. But I got 4 oranges and 4, whatever that is, greens. And then I've got these 4 fluoros and 4 blues, okay? So you need to have 8 for one side, 8 for the other side. And then you need to have these very large stitch markers for the corners. This is just to help you out to where you want to put your single crochet when we do it, okay? The stitch we are using is the flat braid join, okay? You may or may not have seen that, but this is the join we are using. A lot of people do a row of single crochet first. If we did that, it would make the swatches look a little bit weird, because the way it works is, and I'll explain it as we're doing it anyway, these 10 stitch markers that go along here, in between they're going to have 3 chains, all right? None of these pieces will end up exactly the same in stitch count, which means we have to maneuver it the way we want it to go, which is why we need the stitch markers. And I'll explain that further to you when we are putting our stitch markers in. For now, grab yourself 3 stitch markers and leave those little ones there for now. Just grab yourself 3 large stitch markers. And what I want you to do is place a stitch marker in the top left-hand corner, and it has to be a stitch that you are going to put your corner, not that one. That literally split that stitch there. So that's the top stitch there, the chain, I'm assuming that's a chain 3 or a chain 2, but that's your top stitch right there. That's your first corner, okay? That's where we're starting. Down here will be your bottom corner, and let's just bring that up. Grab a corner stitch anywhere you see fit, but it must be in the stitch, okay? We're not popping them in the spaces, we're popping them in a stitch. Oh, I can find that stitch. There it is, right there. All right, so that's that one. So you've got the top, your bottom side. That's actually not in the stitch, is it? Hello. You know why it's not in there? Because mine's really tight because I weave my thread into it. Of course it is. And over here is the next corner here. You probably don't need this one here yet. This one's easy because it's got like a little single crochet kind of thing there. All right. So there you go. That's what I want you to do. That's your top left-hand corner. That's the base, and that's your turning corner. All right. That's all you need to know for now. Turn your piece to the side. All right, and pop in 8 stitch markers along here. How do you do this, I hear you ask? Well, there's no real measurement. So what I did was I just put in 4 of the orange, 4 of the green, and then maneuvered them to suit me. What I want though is I don't want these first stitch marker that you put in to be too far away, because then it bends the corner too much. So literally, let's get close. Pop your first stitch marker fairly close. Now it needs to be in a stitch, so find a stitch, I don't know, 2 rows in maybe. It's on your second row there for that stitch marker. Move over and grab your whatever colour's next. I'll just get the fluoro green and find that fairly close right there. It's probably just the next row. Yeah. Oh, and I've got my threads in there. That's going to be hard for me to crochet on. Anyway, so there you go. Now, in between, you need to pop your, what do we got, 4 there? You need to pop the next 6 stitch markers any place you like. But they have to be kind of evenly spread, okay? They don't have to be perfect. In some cases, you can follow the rows, okay? You can put it in there if you like, but it needs to be in a stitch. All right, so pop your stitch marker in a stitch wherever you want. There's a stitch right there. I'm going to pop it there. Oh, it's not the right colour. Hello. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. And again, you can maneuver these and fix them up, change them, move them about once they're in. But just do the best you can with little gaps for now. I don't know, every second row, and then later we'll play with it. Okay, now you've got your greens. Your greens are starting from that angle. In fact, I know, so far I know I'm going to have to change things already. Okay, but that's okay. This is what this is all about. It's trial and error. Yeah, it looks like a big error. So have a look at that. These are nowhere near even, yeah? So what I will do, I notice there's massive gap in the middle there. I might move the green one over one stitch, yeah? Still a big gap. I'm going to move the orange one over one stitch, which is right there. And then maybe even closer, yeah? We can move it closer. In fact, I'll move the orange one more stitch closer. There. Now you can move your orange ones or your greens or whatever colour you used to suit you. Massive gap there. Let's move things over. Okay. Move that green over. I don't mind having a fairly big gap between there and there, so long as this gap here is not so big. And even that might be too close, I think. So don't leave a too big of a gap close to your corners, yeah? So far, that's looking good, but I still think the gap in here is too big. So I'm going to move this orange one more stitch over, which will mean all the other oranges will have to move over. And maybe even another one. Look at that massive gap in there. Okay, let's move one more stitch. That's it. And then we start moving everything over. So if you wanted to measure it with a ruler and divide it by 10 in between, that might be easier for you. I just play with it. Once I get a look I'm looking for, that's it. And what I do is I just bring it forward like that and let it sit forward. And look at the big gap between those two, yeah? We don't want that big of a gap, so we're going to move that one over. And that's, you know, this, like, there's no right or wrong way of doing this one, because our swatches, they're not all going to add up, okay? They will definitely not add up, and that's where the problem will lie. That's why we're doing it this way. Move the oranges over. And one more over. I might have to maneuver these later because stitches I'm going in, they're really tight. All right, so once you establish your laces, that's a little too close anyways, let's bring it over one more stitch. Okay, there you go. How's that looking? Good? See, it does pay to have all the same colour across. I just chose these because I didn't have 10 of the same colour, all right? But there you go. I'm happy with that. Turn it to the side, and you're going to do the next set of those. Now, you might be lucky with this one because this is where you can actually see stitches. So you might be able to, and what I found earlier when I played with it, you might be able to just count. I found that if I did the first two stitches, like pop that in the second, not the first one, but the second stitch, yeah? And hopefully this works for me. And I pop that one not in the first, but in the second stitch. When I did the rest, I just did every third one. 1, 2, and 3. I think this is what I did with this. I'm trying to remember now, because I did this a couple of days ago, so I do apologise. 1, 2, 3, if I forget. Hang on, 1, 2, and 3. And you can see these stitches. I'll show you a close-up of the stitch so you know what I'm doing. The V's, you can see them. So I'm counting 3 over. Now, that might not work, but 1, 2, and then popping it in the third one. But it might. from memory. I think I did do that. I did 2 up the side there and 3 along here. So there's 1, 2, and 3. I think I did that. I'm trying to remember now. I bet any money I get across there and it doesn't work. 1, 2, and 3. Where's the other? Is that it? No, we're missing one. Hello. It's over there. How dare you? Okay, so 1, 2, and 3. And that did work. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3. So it was easy with this side because it has stitches there. All right. When we put the other piece on, you can just pop your stitch marker next to it, into it, like, you know, take it out and put it in there, take it out and put it in there when we're doing the next piece. But for now, we're just going to start right now. Before we do, I'm just going to let you know we are doing the flat braid join, and we're going to do a join as you go version. So it won't just be one square cut and then start another square cut. It doesn't work that way with us because yours truly doesn't like threads. So we are doing a join as you go, and we are using, so you know what we're doing, the white. Now I did mention at the beginning of our swatch blanket, beginning of the year, that I would probably use white, and we are using the white. It calls for a 5mm hook, which is what we've been using all along, and you won't need your scissors and darning needle yet, but you may need it as you go along, okay? But not right now, not in this particular tutorial. In the meantime, let's start. We're going to start by working in that corner. Now, having a look right there, this is where we are. And my arrow right here, my arrow shows we're going down that way. All right. So we are working on swatch 7, the herringbone swatch. So pop your hook. I'm going to take mine out because mine is either too tight or I've got a thread in there, one or the other. I think it's just too tight because that's Mary. It's a Mary stitch. Yeah, that's what we're calling it. Now grab your white, just pop it through your stitch right there. Just passing, moving your work to the side there, just passing your thread forward. We're going to lock it into place with a single crochet. First, we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to put a single crochet, crocheting over our thread, 1. Pop your stitch marker in there. Now, you're not going to be using that stitch marker until the very end of all your swatches being joined, and then you come around and you finish off here. So this is going to be in that square or in that swatch the whole time. So if you don't like a big one, put a small one. If you don't like either, put a little piece of thread so you know exactly where to place your hook at the end of the row. Chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. In the same stitch, you are putting another single crochet. Like that. Just pop your thread at the back now. The next thing you're going to do is chain 3 and then pop a single crochet in there. Chain 3, single. Chain 3, single. Chain 3, single, all the way across, which is why I needed you to put your stitch markers in. All right. So chain 1, 2, and 3. Pop your stitch marker, your hook in the stitch with your stitch marker in. If it's anything like me, it's tight. Take out that stitch marker and do your single crochet. Yes, chain 1, 2, and 3. Your next stitch marker is there. Yep, just take out that stitch marker so it's easy to work in now. And single crochet. Chain 1, 2, 3. And the same, all the way across. That's how basic this. And I have to take mine out. Just find my finger right there, make sure I don't. Oh, very tight for me. I hope it's not as tight for you, but there you go. All right, so what I want you to do is do that all the way, get to this corner, and wait for me right there. 3, single, 3, single, 3, single. I'll meet you there in a moment. Alrighty guys, this is the way it looks right now. Yes, I'll just get a nice close-up. I've done my last single crochet in that very last stitch marker, the small one, and that's too close. Then I chain 3, and now we are going to pop a single crochet in the stitch with a stitch marker in it, and I can't do it, so I'm going I'm going to take mine out. I hope yours isn't as tight as mine. Seriously, guys. Oh, gosh. So we're going to pop our... Oh, it really is tight, isn't it? Hook in there. Just talk amongst yourselves for a minute, guys. Talk amongst yourselves. Here we go. Single crochet. Yeah. Chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Single crochet back in that space right there. Same stitch that you are in. So what you have formed is 2 corners and 1 row so far. This is the hardest row, trust me. It does get a lot easier. It gets a little difficult once you're doing the join, but this part of it is just the hardest. Trying to work out how you're going to divide your stitch markers, all right? So turning your work, and this side should be so much easier. Chain 1, 2, 3, because we have stitches that we can go into, all right? It's the base of your herringbone swatch. So there you go. Chain 1, 2, 3, and into that stitch. Super easy, yeah? Super easy. All right, chain 1, 2, 3. I'm not going to show you this. You know what you're doing. You're going to do exactly that. Chain 3, single, chain 3, single, chain 3, single, all the way. Get to your second last stitch, and I will meet you there in a moment. Alrighty, guys, here we are at the end of this row. Well, no, not really. It's the end of this side. Okay. Now I have done my second last stitch, and I've chained 3, and I'm going to pop my last stitch in the stitch marker, and that's a normal single crochet there. Yep. Take out your stitch marker for a minute and just chain 1 only for a moment. Lift up your loop a little bit, and let's talk about what you're going to do next. That is initially the start of our row. We've turned, we've come over here, which is there. We've done that and we've done that, right? Which is, I'm just going to get a close up for you. Your next swatch is the Easy Granny square, which I believe is swatch number 8. Yep. All right, so grab swatch number 8, move that up, grab your swatch number 8, and there you go. Now remember before how we did this, where we popped our stitch marker in the corner stitch. In this case, you can just pop it in the actual corner space of swatch number 8, all right? Because it has its own little corner, which is an absolute bonus. Now, the other bonus with this one is, there's 2 ways you can do this. You can face it towards your other piece and pop your stitch markers in the opposite side. Or this one here, from memory, all we need to do, and I remember this, and I tried it earlier, was go 1, 2, and in that third stitch right there, like you went 1, 2, and in your third, you popped the stitch marker. And then 3 across, 1, 2, 3. Now I know this because I'm pretty sure I did this 1, 2, 3 when I was doing my practice, and I know for a fact that you can get away with it this way. Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right, now we're on to our blues. 1, 2, oops, what is it? 1, 2, 3. There we go. Yes. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Last one. 1, 2, and what is it? No. 1, 2, and 3. Oh God, that's my thread. You know, the weaving part. That's where I've weaved in. All right, so there you go. So that actually adds up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's perfect, yeah? So now what you're going to do, now that it's ready, by the way, this is the right side of your granny square, and the bubbled look is the wrong side. I forgot to mention that. So turn your work this way. Now remember before we chained 1 in this corner? We chained 1 in that corner. We're going to leave that chain 1, okay? And we're going to jump straight into the very next corner on your next piece and do a single crochet. Let's try that again. A single crochet. Don't make that stitch too loose, but don't do it too tight either. All right? Take out your stitch marker, and there you go. All right, now from here, you are going to chain 1, pull up your loop and take out your hook. And that chain 3 space that we did earlier on the other side, pop your hook in, grab that loop, tighten it up, and pull it through. Chain 2, 1 and 2. All right, now you're going to go right to the opposite where the stitch marker is and pop a single crochet in there, like so. Chain 1, pull up your loop, take your hook out, pop it in the space, the chain 3 space from the other side, and pull that loop through. Chain 1 and 2, and you're going to do that again. Now, when we did this side here, we did chain 3, and you're probably wondering why we're only chaining 2 here, because once we put our single crochet in there, let's take that stitch marker out for starters, and we do our first chain in this group. When we lift up our loop and we bring our hook over to our chain space there and we pull it through, that's our second chain in the group and that's our third. So you've got 1, the second one locks into place, and the third one gives you that extra chain. And then you do your normal single crochet in your opposite side. Now, as you go along, you'll get that look right there. The gorgeous braided look. I love that so much. If you wanted to, and I'll take the stitch marker out because we've done this stitch, you could not take your hook out. You could do it this way where you are chaining 1, go to the opposite side, pop your hook over the top, pull the loop through, chain 1 and 2, and then single in your next stitch like normal. So you're going over. Now I like the braided look. It looks really pretty. This just looks like a slip stitch, even though it's over the top. So I prefer the braided look, but you can do it the other way where you don't take out your hook. Oops, bring that up. So it's entirely up to you how you want to do this, okay? But there are many other ways you can do this stitch as well. 1 and 2, whoops, and then single in there. Oh no, not so much the stitch, but the actual design. You can change your chain 3 to make it chain 5 and make the stitches bigger. You can make chain 2, make them smaller, chain 1. There is so many ways you can play with your piece, yeah? That's a really loose stitch, that one. Chain 1 and 2, nearly forgot. Single in your next. All right, chain 1 under there, pull that loop through, chain 1 and 2. Is that too close for you now, guys? I'm sorry. Bring that out, single in your next, chain 1, lift it up, turn it over, and pull the loop through like normal, chain 1 and 2, single in your next. That was really tight. Let's see what happened there. Oh, it's okay. Chain 1 and up, nearly did a 2. Can be tricky. Jump into your chains, pull that loop through, chain 1 and 2, single in your last stitch right there, chain 1, put it in your last chain 3 on this side like normal, chain 1 and 2 like normal, single crochet in your corner like normal, take out that stitch marker, chain 1, lift up your hook, go right into the actual chain 3 of the corner on that side, okay, pull that loop through like normal, chain 1 and 2 like normal, then jump straight back into your blue stitch there, or your blue square, if that's what you want to call it, your blue spot, yeah? And now you chain 1 and 2 and 3. And you are doing chain 3s and single crochet along here, just like you did here. Now from memory again, if you want to pop your stitch markers in, you can just go 1 and 2 right there. And then you can do your 3 along here, 1, 2, 3 in there. Okay, and you can do that all the way across. Now I know that that's going to add up, so I'm not going to bother, but pop your stitch markers in and get to your end right there, and then join us to do this. Single crochet in that first stitch marker, like so. Chain 1, 2, 3, skip your 1, 2, jump into your third. All right, this square here has that. You can do that with this square. 1, 2, 3. Skip 1, 2 and jump into your third. So you don't really need a stitch marker for this one. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. If you did it the same as me, you don't. 1, 2, 3. Right? And 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And so on all the way across. All right, so look, I don't need to show you this part. I would like for you to pop your stitch markers in, do your single crochet chain 3 all the way across. Actually, no, I do need to show you. Once we get to the corner, I need to show you what we're doing. Oh, hello, Mary. Get it right. 1, 2, 3. And then 1, 2, and 3 right there. 1, 2, 3. Check that you have your 10 across. 1 in the corner. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then you've got your corner that you're going to do right there. Right there, there it is. All right, like that. And here in the corner, you're going 1, 2, 3, doing another single crochet straight in the same corner. So you have actually formed your corner. Turning your work, chain 1, 2, 3, popping your stitch marker in your second stitch, but I'm going to skip that because I know that if you just go 1 and then pop it in the second one, the single crochet, then the rest will just be 3 across. Chain 1, 2, 3. But if you feel the need to pop your stitch markers in here, you can. 1, 2, and on your third one, single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3. All right. Very simple. Chain 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm rushing this. 1, 2, and 3 because I want to get you started on your next swatch. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. 3 is that magic number, isn't it? 1, 2, 3. But it doesn't always work that way. 1, 2, and 3. All right. So you've got corner 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we're going to put our 10th one directly into the corner. Chain 1, 2, 3. And then pop your 10th in that corner right there. Chain 1. Lift up your loop. All right. So what you have now is that. You have joined 2 of your pieces. Get excited, guys, because this is where I leave you on your own. Seriously, you can do this. You can do this. All right. It's the next swatch actually is a little bit tricky because the next swatch is your basket weave swatch number 16. All right. Now this swatch here is tricky because it's got a lot of stitches across this way, and it doesn't always marry up to your 10 stitch markers across. So you really have to play with it. And you need to decide how you want your swatch to go. Let's see how we literally started. I can't even remember how we started that way. Oh, I'm just about to lose my stitch. Oh, don't do that. We'll have to check that in a minute. But my suggestion now is to actually really focus on your stitch markers. But what you can do, I think that's the wrong way. Is that the right way? Hello. That's the right way. Hello. Be careful. Get the right way, yeah? What you can do is to pop your stitch marker the right way. Let me show you so you know. The top of your basket weave is nice and straight like that. The bottom is where you first started, right? You can tell, right? The bottom was where we first started. So pop your stitch marker in there, like so, in your corner. Now, if you wanted to, this is what I said earlier, you could just do this. Seriously, you could just get your stitch markers and go like that. And marry them up with your stitch in your previous row. All right, you can do it that way, or you can be fiddly and count it perfectly the way you want. But either way, I would suggest for this swatch to pop your stitch markers in, because it's all wonky and wide and it's different than the rest, and it's solid. Yeah, so pop your stitch markers in. Yeah, and pop your stitch markers in this corner right here. All right, now remember how we did our chain one? Hang on, I won't tell you to do that yet. I won't tell you to do that. What I will tell you to do is, because this is what you're going to do. Let's just bring those to, I'll close that up, all right? This is your next swatch, yeah? The one after it is your corner to corner. If you're following my, my picture, my diagram, and the one after that is your popcorn stitch, all right? So I would go like that, leave those two there so you know, and we are going to start with our basket weave. All right, so what your job is to do now is to do those 3 swatches the same way we just did this section here. I will pop the time up here now. Let's move everything out of the way for starters. Let's just pop the time right here, and I'll pop the time there, and this is the time I need you to go back to, popping your stitch markers in here and doing your very next piece, all right? And then in that time there, it'll tell you to go there, do this side, and then do this side. And then it'll tell you to start again with your very next swatch and do exactly the same, all right? So what your job to do now is to repeat that over here, and I will meet you back here once you have completed your last swatch. When you get to your last swatch, what I want you to do is just get to that corner right there. All right. Oops. So you're ready to do that swatch. You do that one swatch, and then you do that one, and then you do that one. When you finish it, am I the right side? That's the wrong side. Hello. So pop your stitch marker in. Actually, no, you can pop it right here, but don't complete the corner. All right. So you do that swatch, finish it, start this one, finish it, start this one, get to the corner, do your corner, get to your corner right here and wait for me there, because we are going to do something different, because it's the end of our swatch length or width. In this case, they're both the same, so it doesn't really matter. So get to here, and I will meet you back here once you're done. That's the time you need to go to right there, and I'll meet you back here in a moment. Alrighty guys, this is where you should be. What? Yay! You have completed one side, yay! Now what I want you to do is turn your work this way. What we're going to do now is work along this side right here. Now, remember before how we were placing our stitch markers and, we were being really careful. Now, all you need to do, if you really want to be careful, just, let's get a close up right here. We'll do this side over here because it's easier to see with less mess. See that row right there, or that line you can see right there? You just run your finger along the line, all the way across. Pop a stitch marker right in there. And you can do that. You can do that all, you can do that all along your piece. Right there. It's super duper easy, all right? So go ahead and pop all your stitch markers right there, and I will meet you here in a moment. Alrighty guys, I've got my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and they're all aligned with the opposite side. So if they're a tiny little bit crooked, it's not going to be noticed because they match the opposite side, all right? So I'm hoping all of that makes sense, but all we're going to be doing here, which is relatively easy, is hum first. All right, so where you should actually be, I'm going to take my work undone there. Where you should actually be is a single crochet in your final corner, yeah? So you need to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Single crochet back, there we go. Let's take that stitch marker out in that corner. Yes, and now you are chaining 1, 2, and 3, and jumping straight, oops, not that one, I was going to do double crochet then, and doing a single crochet right in that stitch marker stitch. Let's take that stitch marker out. Pop your hook in, and 1, 2, and 3, jumping right over and into your very next stitch. I'm going to take the stitch marker out because I knew this would happen, because these stitches are really weird, and we want to get into a stitch. Oh, excuse the sun, guys, it's coming in and out like a yo-yo today. Can you see that? Wow, that's bright. There you go, and 1, 2, and 3, and jump right over and into that next stitch like so. 1, 2, 3, right into, oh, that's a really big jump. Is it that? Let's have a look. Oh, I've done a mistake. Oh, no, I haven't. Where am I? I have. I've just gone 1 stitch too early on this one. So let's run my finger. See where my stitch is? Goes all the way over here and just goes right into there. That'll do. 1, 2, 3. Oh, look at that sun. Oh, wow. That's, wow. There was no sun before. It was pitch black here. All right, so I'm going to take out that stitch marker because it's really in a tight stitch. And, oh, where'd I get it out of there? Well, let's have a look now. See, this is what I do. I remove things. And right there, yep. 1, 2, and 3. And right in there. Oh, I should have taken that out before, hey? 1, 2, and 3. And into the very next stitch. 1, 2, and 3. Into the next. I'm sorry, I'm rushing this part because you guys actually know this bit. I probably didn't even need to show you, but anyway. 1, 2, and 3. It's just when we get to that stitch in the middle there. I might have moved that over, did I? A little bit, yeah. Oh no, that's okay. 1, 2, and 3. And all right, so here we are. You need to pop your hook. Oh, look how far away we are. Let's take that out and I'll show you again. You need to pop your hook in the same stitch with your single crochet there, like that. Whoops, take out that stitch marker. Or you're going to get all caught up, and do your single crochet. So what you have now is like a normal corner where you've got your 2 single crochets in there. Yep. You now officially have your 2 single crochets, and there's that sun again. My apologies, guys. You're chaining 1 and 2. So now you're going to go into that space where your stitch is, that 1 single crochet is, put your hook in, pull a loop through, and pull it through to the loop on your hook with a slip stitch. All right, chain 1 and 2 because you've got that single there, or that chain there I should say. You are single crocheting into the first corner on the your C2C side. So single in that nice tight Mary stitch. All right, so you have completed your corner there. Yeah, now chain 1, 2, and 3. You're going to do the exact same thing all along here. Place your stitch markers, and then you know what? You can do this one. Place your stitch markers in this piece. Let's move all this out the way. Pop in your stitch markers, do your chain 3 single crochet row all the way across, and I'll meet you right here in a moment. Alrighty guys, here I am on the end of my side. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the 10th one is going to be our corner stitch right there. So you're going to pop your hook in, take out your stitch marker, do your single crochet. Now remember, we have a chain 1 in there, so we're chaining 1 and 2. We are slip stitching into that stitch, pull a loop through and pull it through to the loop you are in, chain 1 and 2 and single crochet into the top of your next corner of your next piece. And that, my dears, is pretty much it. All right, I'm sorry, I'm still close. And that sun is unbearable today. All right, so this is it, guys. You're going to do that all the way across until you get to the very top of your very first swatch that we did. All right, so that's your job now. Continue along in that manner. Do exactly the same as what we did with our stitch markers, and then doing your crocheting all the way along, and then get to this spot right here, and I will meet you here in a moment. Alrighty guys, there, check it out. It was very nice. All right, this is where we are at the moment, yes? But before, I've chained my 3, but before we single crochet in there, this is what we need to do. All right, let's go like that. Grab our little book and our little diagram looking thing. This is what you have so far. That, and I'm a bit slow, sorry, that. All right, so it's all there, yes? So your very next swatch you need now, whoops, too close, sorry, is the hearts swatch, which is right, where are we? That's not it, hang on, I'm going to get the right side, right there. It was it in the first place. So what your job now is to make sure that your hearts is they're facing you right now, yeah? Now the hearts, that is swatch number 23, crochet hearts in a row. That's the one we're using right next to our herringbone piece, yeah? So that's that. What you need to do here is, firstly, pop your single crochet. Let's turn all that around for now. Pop your single crochet in your corner like normal. Yes, chain 1 like normal. And before you turn everything around, grab your stitch markers, yeah, and pop them. This one's a little bit easier because we've got, like, you know, corners here, which is good. There's one corner. So that's your corner stitch. I don't know if you can see that. Let's have a look. That's your corner stitch right there. So your very next stitch, this is another way of doing it. I showed you this way before, where you just go to the opposite stitch there and pop it in. And this way you don't have to count. All right, I've popped that in wrong, but anyway, I can fix that later. Yep, no counting involved if you don't want to. There, and right opposite is there. Okay, and again, I'm going to pop this on fast and off we go, popping all our stitch markers in. Alrighty, now have you noticed that this one is particularly smaller than your herringbone? So you needed to give it a really good stretch, and by looking at it now, even stretching it, I'm going to move one of my stitch markers over. Alright, so you really need to give this one a good stretch for it to fit in. I think that will do though. I think it will do, and we're going to find a stitch. I might not put it in the stitch, I might just put it directly in the corner. I think I've got a knot here from when we did our knot, so I'm just going to pop the stitch directly into the corner of that piece there. All right, so that's the way it should be, yes? Turning everything around like that. A little bit tricky, you may have to wind this bit up a bit. Yep, like that. And your stitch is here, remember? You've chained your 1. Now you're just going to work into that corner right there with a single crochet. Yeah, take out the first corner stitch marker, take out that stitch marker because you don't need it there anymore. Turning your work a little bit. Yes, chain 1, lift up your loop directly into the opposite piece. Pop your loop through, chain 1 and 2, whoops, 2, and directly into your very next stitch marker stitch. Now you know this part because you've done it before. So in the stitch, single crochet, chain 1, lift it up, jump into your next. I'm going so fast. I just want to get this, this part ready for you. 1 and 2, and into your very next. Tight stitch there. Hello. All right, there you go. Like so. All right, so that's pretty much the same thing you've been doing all along. You're going all the way down there, get to this stitch right here, not even in frame, get to this stitch right here, and I will meet you there in a moment. So continue along the way, get to that stitch, and I'll meet you there in a moment. Alrighty guys, here I am at the second last stitch marker. Now let's just give you a nice close up here. I've chained my 2 and I'm going to do my second last single crochet for the row, taking out that small stitch marker. This is why I used the small one so you knew exactly where I was. Okay, chain 1, and of course you're jumping into that very last chain loop there before your corners. Pull a loop through, chain 1 and 2. You're jumping into your stitch, the corner one, the nice thick big stitch marker stitch, if that helps, doing your normal single crochet. Now this is where it gets a tiny little bit tricky, because it's a corner or a middle section, if you will. It's a really big jump, so if you were to do 1 chain, that would pull a little bit, right? So you kind of need to do 2 chains in and then 3 chains out. All right, so you go like this, you go 1, which you normally just do 1, and then you do a second one before you slip stitch. The way it works with this piece is that with this one here, you're slip stitching diagonal right onto the next corner of the opposite square, or swatch if you will. When we do our next swatch, you'll be slip stitching this way to the opposite square. So it gives you that tightness. If you did this over here, it would look weird. So you do it right across. Once you go to the next side, you just pull it through later and it's so much easier. All right, so you're chaining 2 in the corners, not 1 in the center corners, 2. Lift up your loop. Let me get a close up. And you're not going in this square, you're going right in the opposite corner. There's the corner, the opposite corner. Grab your loop, pull it through, chain 3 to get out. See how it's a really big jump to get into there? So it's chain 1, make sure it's tight enough, 2 and 3. If it's too loose, it'll be noticeable. Jump straight back into the corner with a single crochet, and that is your first corner done. All right, from here you're going to do your normal chain 1, 2 and 3 and jump into your very next stitch. I don't know where that is yet because I haven't got my stitch markers in. All right, but there you go. That's what I want you to do now. Just go across here, get to the very top of your corner there and meet me there. Oh, I'm not even in frame. Just keep going across there, pop your stitch markers in and get to that stitch marker right there, and I'll meet you there in a moment. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the row. Now I found with this one here, I had to maneuver a lot. I had to put 2 there and 2 there and 3 here because it wasn't as big or as many stitches as the rest. So you're going to have that with some of your pieces are going to have different stitch counts. So you can't really tell where I maneuvered. It kind of all looks the same. But that's got 2, that's got 3, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2 and 2, and right at the end 2 again. So you will have to do that with some of your swatches with your stitch markers. That's why I asked you to grab your stitch markers and play with your swatches, yeah? So you can see the differences between the stitches. So imagine if we had put a single crochet row around it first. It would have just put everything out of whack. So it's just better to leave everything as is and jump straight into your final stitch marker there and do your normal single crochet, making sure you had your chain 3 first, yeah? Normal single crochet, chain 1. Turn your work. We're going to grab our very next square or swatch. Which one is that, I hear you ask? Now let's have a look. I think it's the V-stitch from memory. Let's have a look. And yes, it is. All right, so what you've done, have a look at that. I'm loving this join. I really am. What you've done is that, okay? You've got those 2 up there and all of these done. And now you're going to do your V-stitch. After we do the V-stitch, you can head off on your own and do that row, okay? But in the meantime, let's grab the V-stitch swatch, making sure it is the right way, like we did before with the, see that's already upside down for starters. And that's the right side. How do I know? Because the first row is the right side for us. But it doesn't matter. If you popped it that way, I can see the difference. I know there's a difference, but if you popped it that way, it can be okay, as long as it's up the right way. So your stitches are in the groove and your stitches are made up the top like normal. Yep. So what you're going to do here is what you see there. Again, popping your stitch markers. I have a funny feeling that this is also small. All right. Pop your stitch markers right opposite the other side. Like that. Okay, pop your stitch markers in. I'm going to pop this on fast and we're going to do this together. Alrighty guys, I had to use the fluoro stitch markers because the blue were too blue. And that's what happens when you've got the same colour. I just realised that look how blue they are. They're exactly the same colour. A little bit darker, but there you go. Count your stitch markers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And off we go. All right. Now, once again, you've already done your single crochet here. Have we chained our 1? I can't remember. Yes, we have. So you've done your single crochet, you chain 1, go straight into the top of that stitch marker, which has got a thread, because I weaved in the end there, I can see it. So it's got an end weaved in, so it's a bit tight for me. So pop in, do your normal single crochet, chain 1, lift up your loop, pop it in that stitch, in that loop there, pull your loop through like normal, chain 1 and 2, and off you go doing your row. Okay, once again, I'm going to get you to do this on your own and I'll meet you back here in a moment. Or maybe that's it, we'll pop it on fast. How's that? 1, 2, we'll pop this on fast and I'll meet you back here once we're done. Alrighty guys, I had to keep taking my stitch markers out because I had so many Mary stitches, you know, really tight stitches. So there you go. Alright, so that's our last single crochet for this side. I'm lying, that's our second last single crochet. 1, go into the very last big loop, yes. Pull that loop through, chain 1 and 2 like normal, single in your corner like normal. All right, so from here, remember before how we chained 2 to get into that opposite side, which is that one there, and then we chain 3 to get out. Well, we're going to do exactly that again. Okay, so chaining 1 and 2, and this time we're not going there again, we're going right into the opposite side. Like we went on the opposite side of these two before, the opposite corners. Now we're going to go into the opposite corners here. Where do you put your hook, I hear you ask? It's a little tricky and hard to see. So what we're going to do, let me lift up the loop a bit more. I'm going to grab my needle and show you a close-up so you can have a look, see where the corner is on your herringbone stitch. There's your 2 single crochets in the corner. That is where you put your hook. All right, so I'm going to pop my hook there, bring it out a little bit more. All right, so now pop the hook in underneath all of this, grabbing your loop. It will work, trust me. Pull that loop through, chain 1, just give it a gentle tug because you don't want that to be too loose. 2 and 3, back into your corner that you're working in with a single crochet. I'm going to do a few stitches for you though, because I want to make sure we can have a look at it in a minute. So you chain 1, lift it up, jump into the other side, pull the loop through, chain 1 and 2. Let's just lift it up for now. And you can have a look at that join. Now, if you did your stitch too loose, let me just move this out the way for a minute. If you did your stitch too loose here, it's going to be sticking up. Your job is to put your stitch markers along here, get to this corner right here, and you know this part, you can do this easy. Okay, you're doing your normal, single crochet, chain 1, slip, chain 2, single crochet, and so on, all the way across. Pop your stitch markers in. This is another one that may not fit across, so you really have to try and stretch to marry that up. But once you do, it'll look gorgeous, and I'll meet you here when you get to this spot right here. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of this section here. All right, and I've chained my 2. I'm going to single crochet in the second last. I have to take the stitch marker out because this is where I've weaved in ends by the looks of it. All right, we're going to single crochet in that nice weaved in end spot, chain 1, pull up the loop, go into the last 3, chain 1 and 2, single crochet. Oh, I've split the yarn in that corner. Jeez, I'm doing well. Single crochet in the last stitch there, your corner stitch, chain 1 and 2 in this case, because we are now going to do what we did before, where we chained 2, went to the corner and pulled the loop through and then chained 3 over. That's exactly what we're going to do here. We've chained our 2. Yeah, remember we are only chaining 2 in the corners, or the middle I should say, of the corner. Find your corner on your opposite side, not here but the opposite side, which is your grey, if that helps you. Pull the loop through, chain 1, 2, 3, single in the same space, and you've now completed your corner. Chain 1, 2, 3, and let's just pretend that we're jumping into this stitch for now, and you're going to continue along the way. All right, so your job now is to obviously pop your stitch markers in, do your single crochet, chain 3, and I will meet you at that corner in a moment. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of this section here, and we're going to pop our last single crochet. Oh, that stitch has been split. Of course it has. It's a Mary stitch. Here we go. In that very last, or the corner stitch right there, chain 1, get ready to turn your work and get excited because we are adding our new swatch any second now. All right, so this is what you have. Simply divine, gorgeous. All right, so that's that. Grab your new swatch, which is, I believe, our big heart. I could be wrong. Yes, it is. It's the red heart. Now, the red heart is swatch number 3. Okay, and it goes right next to our basket weave stitch there. Okay, so I hope you're getting the idea of this going down this way and then going back up, and now we're coming back down. So I hope you're getting that. This is the crochet heart, the fillet heart, that one right there. Let's get rid of this. Okay, all right, so now you've got your heart. Now the big question is, sorry, I didn't mean to shout in the camera there, is which way does the heart go? Okay, so you're looking at your heart. The right side is the neat side. The bubbled look is the wrong side. So we want facing the right side to us and with our stitches down. So our normal heart should be facing as though you're looking at a heart. So that is all your right side. Now what you're doing, once again, if you want, you can just do your stitch markers like that. And again, this is one of those pieces that the stitches will not marry up at the end. So let's just pop one in the corner. Probably going to take it out in a second anyway, but I want to pop it in anyway so you can see it. And there's your corner. Don't forget you need to pop yours down this way. But in the meantime, I'm just going to show you what we need to do here. You've done this before up here with this one here, but it's good to show you again one more time. We've already chained one. Yes, we're going over to that corner. I never should have put it in, should I? Go over to the corner. It's because I've got weaved ends in there. I can feel it as I'm doing this. Go over to the corner and pop a single crochet in that edge there, like that. Chain 1. All right, so now we're going to get a nice close-up. And you're going to start again. Lift up your loop. Jump into your opposite side where your 3 chain space is. Give it a tug, pull it through, chain 2, 1 and 2. And straight in the opposite side with a single crochet, chain 1, lift it up into your chain 3 space, pull it through, chain 1 and 2, and then you're going to do, I'm going to take that stitch marker out because I've split a stitch there. Your single crochets all the way down. Don't forget to put in your stitch markers, and when you get to the corner stitch right here, wait for me there and I'll tell you what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, here we are. Now I tell you what I did do. I really struggled with this bit. It doesn't marry up properly, so I kind of had to stretch it, like really stretch it. And I'm assuming you would have too, because we all had the same stitches, but there you go. Now I've done my very last stitch for the row, and I've chained my 1. So I'm going to lift the loop up and go into the chain 3 space like normal and pull that loop through like normal, chaining 1 and 2 like normal, and then single crocheting in the corner. Let me take this out so you can see what I'm doing. Single crocheting in that first corner. I'm sorry, let's try the last corner. Hello. There. All right, now you're chaining 1 and 2 because this is a corner join, remember? Now with this one, it's like the other one way up the top there where we had to go diagonally, but we went over all thicknesses, didn't we? So let's grab that little sewing darning needle again so I can show you exactly where you're supposed to go into. All right, so that's the piece you're going into, your granny square. Yep. So pop your hook up. There is the corner of the white right there. Oh, I should have used the needle while I had my hand. There's your corner right there. Making sure you are directly into your corner. I'm going to have to lift it up to have a look. And let's make sure there's no threads there. All right, that is where you need to pop your hook. Grab your loop like so. Pull it through. A lot of thicknesses there. Chain 1, 2 and 3. Single crochet back into your third, your stitch there. Hello. Single crochet back into your corner. Chain 1. And just jump straight into the very first chain 3 that you see on the opposite side, like so. chain 1, and let's pretend that this is the stitch right here, which it isn't. You have to go and get your stitch markers and pop them in. I'm just going to make one for the sake of making one, but I have to take this out because I want to marry it up properly with the opposite side. So what your job now to do is to marry that up with that and get to that corner and repeat the process on the rest of your swatches for this side. Now guess what you're going to do? Oh my gosh, get excited guys, because I'm going to let you head off on your own for this, and we're going to join back here tomorrow for the rest. All right, but what I would like for you to do is this. All right, bring that out. Can't bring it out any further. Remember to place your stitch markers here and here. Repeat the process. Now I'm going to pop a time up here so that it'll be around this corner here, and you can repeat the process over and over again for the next 2 squares after your heart. Now the next 2 squares are, what are they, I hear you ask? They are, all right, so there's your heart. Your next 2 squares are your single crochet and your half granny half solid. There's your single, there's your half granny half solid. All right, so it's like this. Move that out the way. This is the right side, yes. Popping your single crochet there, popping your half granny half solid there. You can pop it that way, or you can even pop it that way. And my suggestion would be to do it that way. Or actually this way would be better because it's a really awkward shape, the half granny and half solid. It really is. And this way at least the awkwardness can be on this side and your easy count can be on that side, if that makes any sense. And you go in by 2 and then 3 and then so on all the way across. Maybe. I don't even know if that's going to work, right? Because I haven't done that yet. Making sure both your items are actually on the right side, which they actually aren't. That's the right side. Oh no, it's not. I was right the first time. Hello. That's your right side, yes. And the same with your single crochet, which is your right and which is your wrong. That's the base of your stitch there. That's the top of your row. And I believe that is the right side. It doesn't matter really with the single crochet row, whatever suits you. I've got a bit of hair there. We'll save that for later. And there you go. All right. So now your job is to come down this way. Do your half corner, turn, pop onto this corner, get to the middle, full corner, go down, do your half corner, turn again in this corner, come around, do a full corner, come all the way down, get to that stitch marker right there, and meet me back here tomorrow, and we will go ahead and join the rest of our swatches. All right, I just want you to get this concept right first, and then when we get to here we will work out what we're going to do for the rest of our swatches. All right, and we will do that tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining us today, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share and do all the wonderful things that you guys, well, sort of already do for me anyways. And don't forget to join us on our lives at 4 p.m. Wednesday afternoons, 10 a.m. Saturday mornings, Melbourne, Australia time that is, and we will talk about this particular blanket and the way it's going and where we are headed for a border, okay, or a border row if you will. Thank you so much for joining me, and all I want to say right now is happy crocheting. Ciao for now.